Hello there, it's me, that fella who does the thing on the internet. Welcome back, it's Pathologic, hopefully, yeah, no, definitely, it's definitely the final day of the Bachelor campaign today. Doesn't matter what happens at this point, we're not gonna go back and redo anything, we're polishing this one off right here, right now. I'm excited, I wanna get to know who the powers that be are, this is genuinely pretty hype, so, once we reach the top of the pinnacle, you might say, of some weird screen tearing going on there. That's not right, is it? Don't know why that's happening. I did get a new graphics card, but I have recorded Pathologic since installing that, and it's not been an issue previously. We'll see if it continues. If it gets to be particularly obnoxious a few minutes in, then I'll sort it out and restart. But we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes for now. Do you think it's just going to be Khan? Do you think Khan Kane was the powers that be the whole time? Hello, fellas. Are you the powers that be?
My path was called High Day.
If you didn't take care of me, who would breathe life into our town again? I will have so many things to do in 5 or 10 years. Thank you. Thank you. I did just talk over what you were saying there and it sounded quite interesting, but fuck Khan, I guess. No need to thank me. I just suddenly felt sorry for you. It was a letter. It wasn't a quest, it was a letter. The letter reaches you in good time. Do come to the polyhedron. They will let you inside. Keep your eyes tightly closed. Descend to the bottom and say 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes. We'd like to have a little chat with you. Could I always have come here? Was this always a thing? It took me long enough to work out how to get out of the polyhedron. I did not realise I could descend further in. Oh well, you learn something new every day. I guess I need to descend to the bottom. This is some wacky architecture. I'm not sure this is safe for kids, honestly. This isn't a fun place to play, is it? You're not... None of you feeling chatty? No? Okay. There's meant to be... Didn't they say there was like 1,000 of them in here? Because I don't think this is 1,000, to be honest with you. It's like 20. But, you know what? We'll let it slide. We'll let it slip and slide. You know, the game would probably struggle to render... There's a cool paper crane there. The game would probably struggle to render that many people in one place. It does look like there's another symbol at the bottom, though. Is it just like... Not just with one of these kids we talked to, is it? There is a dog head over there. No? Okay. I guess... Yeah, there's more down. Hello. Where the fuck are we? Oh, there's a model of the town. The ending of the Harrispex's campaign had the glass representation of the polyhedron destroyed in this exact model. So I guess that's what this is. Oh, you're quite big, aren't you? You're quite large for children. Please stop doing that. Don't be upset. Being a toy is also nice. Excuse me. Teensy. I hope I can still switch places with you someday. The powers that will have been. That can happen too. Nanny said everything happens. Then you will know what it's like being a toy in the hands of a monster. Hey look, it's Bachelor. Wow, he's so big. How did you find us? I've already told you, right? Who are you? We didn't touch anyone. We're playing down here. It's so fun, you know? You're here too. Well, we thought you were there, but then you turned out to be real. So you thought I was a plaything? No, you aren't our plaything anymore. Show me your sandbox. Look, it's a magic sandbox. See how it reflects the mirrors? It's because everything's for real there. Here's a town. We've made it out of sand, and there's an awful thing going on there. An epidemic. So it's all crumbling. The town is falling apart, and we've sent heroes there to fix it. So how did you go about sending the heroes? It's rotting, see? Ew. We hoped they'd think of something. Mure it in sand, at least. They're magical too, you know, the heroes are. Take you, for example. Look how it all worked out. You used to be a doll, and now you're alive. Perhaps the rest also work like this. Did you know that your dolls are alive? Everything is alive around here. It's this structure. It brings things to life. It's not like we've been twisting anyone's arm. It just happens, all on its own. We only built the town, and then it became miraculous all on its own. And the dolls, we just stuck the throwaway ones in. They were lame anyway. Oops, sorry. Don't you touch anything else around here, and don't stick anything there anymore. I'm afraid you'll never understand it. See, doll, it was us. We've arranged all this. Turned out to be great. We've never made a world like this before. It's magical. We planted it, and here's what has grown up. But now there's rot everywhere. I'm a human being. In that case, you're a human being that closely resembles one of our toys. It's a bachelor, but we're calling it Daniel Dankovsky. For fun. It can't be, I'm not your toy. Really? So you're not a doll? Go ahead, hit me then. Why? Why are you just standing there? I dare you. Hit me with everything you have. You'll regret this, I swear. See, doll, it was us. I see. But why did you play it like this? Why couldn't you have chosen a different game, like tag or something, huh? Because we've been to a funeral. They've been sending us out to the garden for 10 days in a row so that we wouldn't get in anyone's way. They've been taking us to the cemetery for a week now, Bachelor. And if you keep being naughty, I'll take you with me next time and leave you among the reeds so that you know better. So who died on you? No one did. No one ever does. Why is he asking about it? Hush hush, no need to cry. Oh, come on. Can I go back in? No. Indeed, it was a sandbox plague. The children who were playing there must have been on their way home from the funeral, a sorrowful game that may have seemed an inappropriate diversion to them, or maybe they simply felt their childhood was slipping away. One way or another, the hero has been bitterly deceived. All this time, the hero took himself to be a living man who was trying to rescue his fellow human beings. Beyond doubt, this belief has filled him with fervour, helped him to reach the finale, and even be somewhat triumphant. In vain. It was all in vain. The hero was a puppet, striving to help the imaginary population of a town that was nothing more than a drawing. Strangely, there is still not a word to be heard from the powers that be. Perhaps they became bored of it all, or were called back home for supper. I mean, normally, under normal circumstances, I would be kind of mad at the "it was all a dream" flavour of cop-out, you know? The sort of Deus Ex Machina, oh yeah, this game's been weird the whole time, but that's because it wasn't real, you know? A certain TV series, a popular early 2000s TV series, you may have heard of it, Lost. Yeah, that springs to mind immediately. Not to get too spoilery on anyone who hasn't seen Lost, but you know, it's like 20 years old at this point, just get with the times, man. So normally, I wouldn't be okay with that, but I don't know. I think I just really wasn't expecting it from this game. I think it had built its lore up to be so vivid and so deep, you know, there was so much going on in this game that I was still struggling to get my head around. And to sort of pull the rug out from underneath me and be like, hey, the entire existence of this game was just a child's plaything. Honestly, that makes a lot of sense. The fact that the polyhedron is like a sanctum, like a protective place for kids, specifically. Like in this world they've created, the children are like unreachable, infallible, untouchable. You know what I mean? The children are the ones who create the Schmauders, the magical healing property item that you can just cure the plague with at a moment's notice. The children are honestly the best people you can trade with in the game, because all of them just carry really cool shit and will trade it for garbage, you know? They're like the real saviors of the story deep down. I mean, Dankovsky and, Barak as well, both of them have been puppets the whole time to the noble houses. It's just they turned out to be a different kind of puppet, I suppose. Interesting. Interesting. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't know what I was expecting. Well, I do know what I was expecting. I think I said last video what I was expecting. I was expecting to meet some shady character, you know, possibly Simon, considering his soul was meant to be trapped within the polyhedron or whatever, or possibly just another character who had turned out to be pulling the strings the whole time. I sort of vaguely suspected the Inquisitor, but also I thought that would be too obvious. But I expected it to be an actual character from within the game world, not just those two fucking creepy ass little kid models that have been haunting my existence for the entire game. Turns out they were the powers that be the whole time. Fair enough, honestly. Fair enough. Haven't forgotten though, we were told to come back to the theatre afterwards, so I guess there's still more. I'm gonna save. I'm gonna save here, I think. It would make sense if Mark Immortel turns out to be someone who knows a lot more than he lets on as well. Come in, they're waiting for you. Take my coat and my bag. The chime in the middle of it all. Okay. Alright, fellas, what do you have to add to this whole thing? The hero is a doll, but so are the children. The real game is what's happening between you and us. I cannot leave the Bachelor's body. You're imposing your limits upon me. The Bachelor has lost his battle for freedom since the day he was born. What about you? The Bachelor is in my hands and nothing more. I wanted to see if I can make it. Well, that's what we're interested in as well. Can you make it or can you not? Can you make what exactly? Could you not have made it? I've made it. I managed to destroy your poisonous evil that has spread thin across the world. You see how sad our fortune is? We put all our hopes in you. We poor actors were hoping you'd become the director of a new show. The old one has been beaten to death. But you turned out to be a doll. That was a blow for me too. I thought I was a human being. Kind sir, can I help you with something? Are you their puppet too? I'm exactly what you think I am. A collection of poorly rendered polygons on a screen. Why are you giving me that look? Do not ascribe a more important role to me than the one I was assigned from the very beginning. I'll fail a bigger role. The mask isn't expressive enough. Undoubtedly. So what does this mean? What exactly does this mean? There's nothing else to be gleaned here. I mean, that was incredibly fourth wall breaking, talking about the polygons on the screen, and the other guy just seemed to be like addressing me as the player more than the Bachelor himself. That's a thing, I suppose. But why? It's like they just unleashed the big plot twist on me that the kids had just been playing and the world was within their imaginations the whole time, and then within seconds they released another plot twist that wasn't really a plot twist. The plot twist that the kids aren't real either because they're in a video game, I guess. I think we knew that. I think we were aware that this was a video game, but it's pretty rare that a game will address that directly, I suppose. The whole takeaway of the events of the last 20 minutes or so has been that it's all just kind of meaningless, really. Why do anything in Pathologic? Because, you know, there's just layers and layers and layers of games within games within games within worlds within worlds within worlds. And whether I save this town or not is irrelevant because it's just a figment of an imagination of a character who doesn't exist at all, even in their perspective. Well, we still have to talk to the Changeling. Specifically told not to speak to her until last, and I think we've spoken to everyone else now, so off we go, I suppose. Still feel like I'm missing something from this whole extravaganza, you know? Still feel like there's something. There's something out there. It almost feels like an intentional sort of cop-out ending because they ran out of development time. I don't know how to feel about it. As I say, I had a general sort of positive impression of the first twist, but then when they just sort of went, yeah, well, it's a video game, so who cares? I don't know. That one felt a bit odd to me. I almost feel like I'm being bullied for playing the video game, you know what I mean? What's this nerd think he is, getting involved in the lore of the world? It's just a video game, man. We're just polygons on a screen. I like a subversive narrative, don't get me wrong. And this game's been nothing but subversive since day one, so I'll still give it a lot of props for all of that. I think this music's different. There's more weird rambling in it now than there was previously. I'm sure that's changed. Anyway, that's by the by. Yeah, as I say, still generally a positive vibe overall, but I really don't know about that whole hey, fuck you, it's just a game, man. perspective that they threw on me at the end there. I say, we'll see what Clara has to say. Maybe she can tie all this up in a neat little package. Hello.
I'm surprised you're still alive.
See how everything turns out? Who could have thought? You have to sacrifice something, either the town or the polyhedron. One of the queens wants to destroy the wondrous tower, while the other seeks to raise as much as possible just to make sure. Do you have a different solution? If my confidants are alive, I'll come to the council with you, and there won't be a single queen there that I won't be able to convince to my cause. But you are absolutely sure they're alive. Do you really want me to come to the council? Yes, I'm sure you're bound to well. Come to the cathedral. I'll give you the right to decide.
Yes?
The time is always up. Soon the marriage begins. Are you aware that we're toys? Of course I am. Were you not? How long were you aware of that? I'm aware of something else too. I am. Almost everyone we've come across in the past few days are toys. Honest to God toys. But some creatures here are more intricate. Who? You and me, for example. You surely understand quite a lot about yourself. You feel a powerful will standing behind you, and I'm going to surprise you quite a lot, teehee. What would you have done if you knew beforehand? I would have acted more confidently. Little puppets we are, true, but it's not the puppet that matters, but whose hands control it. Have you seen them? I have. They probably think themselves so big, think they're real human creatures, little baby kids, don't they? Aren't they? I wouldn't be so sure. I have a gut feeling about it. That's my knack. What can you do? And Harrispex is probably still thinking he's a Harrispex, isn't he? Although he doesn't seem to care, he would have got on very well with those kids. Tell what you know. I've already told you everything. I don't know anything, but I sense a lot. See you, Bachelor. See ya.
People are willing to
Okay. See, part of me, even though I've sort of had it set in my mind from the beginning that I was going to pick the Bachelor's ending, that I want to see the Bachelor's ending, part of me wants to go with Clara's idea. She seems confident she can save everyone, so why not do that if we can, right? I mean, we're still going to do Clara's campaign eventually, at which point we can just pick her ending there, I guess, but I don't know. I mean, the game's made it very clear that it doesn't really matter. It's all fairly inconsequential. We're all just toys after all. Something Clara said. I don't know, I thought she was talking about me, the player, for a minute there. And then she implied that I wasn't real either, which just, like, is that sort of the theming that I'm meant to take away from this? That, like, okay, yeah, the game isn't real, but how can we be so sure reality's real? You know what I mean? One of those sort of things, like, all life is just a game, and we should just try and make the most of it. Try and do the best thing we can. Because, you know, who knows how many layers deep you're going to go eventually, right? I could just be a me, Joe, you know, could just be a puppet in a big old sandbox of gods somewhere. I guess from that sort of perspective it is a fairly clever, at least, ending. I still don't know if it would necessarily be how I would have liked the game to end, but at least I can acknowledge that they were trying something with it, you know? They're trying to make you think, which honestly seems to have been the MO of this game from day one, really. It's never been a game for fun, right? It's never been a game that you kick back and, you know, shoot a fireball or do a kickflip or whatever. It's a game you endure and that just sort of lives rent-free in your brain for far, far longer than it has any right to. I don't know. I'm heading back round here, by the way, because Clara made a point of saying that Harris Specs doesn't know he's a doll. So I'm thinking maybe I can speak to him about it as well. Thinking maybe he might have something to say on the matter. Hey, bud.
I can barely walk.
He can barely walk, okay. Well, that's real informative. I guess we're done then. I guess that's it. That's the video game. I'll head back over to the Inquisitor and we'll make our final selection. I don't know, I'm in two minds because, you know, going off the theming of the game, right? The theming that I just sort of... The solution, the end sort of impact that the game left on me, if you like. Going off all that, the impression that it left on me is that, as I say, nothing really matters, but nothing has to matter, and you may as well still strive for the best, right? And as far as I'm concerned, striving for the best is picking Clara's option. Picking Clara's option and trying to save everybody. But the slightly more pragmatic side of my brain is of the opinion that we're going to do Clara's campaign sooner or later, for sure. And she... trying to save everyone as her might not be as easy as it has been as Dankovsky, right? Which means I won't necessarily get this ending again. I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like it makes sense from Dankovsky's perspective for most of the game to pick Dankovsky's ending and shell the town and save the polyhedron. But now with this newfound information, yeah, fuck it, let's try and save everyone. Why not? Let's go for it. And if it means I have to literally save everyone again so I can pick Dankovsky's ending going in as Clara next time, then I'll just have to fucking do that, won't I? I'll just have to find a way to achieve that goal. How hard can it be? Can't actually do anything here until 7, can we? So I might as well just sleep at this point. Get a little bit of shut-eye. Hello. Just thought I'd say hi, you know. Just thought I'd have a quick chat. It's 2:30. Wow, the maths is eluding me. We sleep 4 hours to get to 6:30 and then things happen at... Things happen at 7. Let's go! It does make sense, actually, thinking back on it, that, like, the people from the pantomime have served on the first day as, like, the tutorial NPCs. The ones who were standing out the front. And we're just straight up like, hey, this game world's weird, let's explain it to you. Because it seems like they're outside the game world. I guess they're sort of the developer surrogate, right? You're too early, okay, alright. I need to speak with Alexander Block, he's here. Here? No, he'll only arrive at 7 o'clock in the evening. A person of exemplary punctuality and honour that he is. And let me see the Inquisitor. We have a lot to talk about before the council begins. No, Bachelor, you will meet them at 7 o'clock and not a minute earlier. New powers have come into play now, the powers that even a government Inquisitor cannot oppose. We are only doing their bidding. What powers? You'll find that out if every person whose life had been in your hands for the last 12 days had a chance to say a word before the council. Every single bound person. But Ava's dead. She apparently does not think so. This unfortunate girl is the only friend of yours that has really done something for you. You won't ever have to take care of her now, yet her voice will be heard. She pleaded and spoke for you. So that's what her letter was about. You're too inquisitive, my dear Bachelor. You don't have to worry about higher powers. You don't have to know why it had all been arranged like this. Who dies, dies. Do your deed. If you want to be present for the council, fulfill your obligations. Yes, I'm extremely inquisitive. That's fine, I've done all that. I'm just sort of waiting now. Just sort of hanging out. Just hanging out, my dude. It's not long till 7 now, though, surely. Yeah, not long. Not long at all. Yeah. It's quite peaceful in this town without all the, you know, flamethrowers and knives and plague clouds and poop angels and rats and rats and rats and rats. It's quite nice. Quite like it. This is my antisocial asshole personality type coming to the forefront here. Oh, look at all the no people that are here. How much I love this. Yeah, Ava was the only one who died in the end, right? Because Peter turned out not to burn himself to death after all. I don't really know how he didn't. Like, he said he was going to, I brought him the stuff to do it, and then he just sort of opted not to, I guess. I think it was implied that Andre, like, did something to protect him or something, and that's why he was getting arrested, but I don't know. I think I must have missed some dialogue there that explained that a bit more thoroughly. 7 not minutes to go. You excited? You excited for the grand finale? It does all seem a bit meaningless now, although it does make sense, thinking about it, that this wouldn't be the game of 2, like, 6-year-old children, because there's an awful lot of, like, you know, medical knowledge and political maneuvering and stuff that a 6-year-old isn't going to include in their games on a realistic level, right? Unless they happen to have watched Game of Thrones recently. Come, Bachelor, the Assembly is waiting your decision. The queens of the chessboard are in a deadlock. They have each other pinned down. The game may very well end in a tragic stalemate. You're a pawn at the finishing line. Deliver your checkmate, mate. Do I hear laughter from under your ugly beak? Funny, now everything will be decided. The Inquisitor lass seems to think she has used you. Confused? Don't you fret. She's also nothing. Everything was leading to this. Now you're acting in the interest of an inevitability. You can't get away from it. Evil conquers all. Make way! Make way for the Bachelor. Here I cometh. Oh, Arthur Fist. I definitely made that joke the last time. That's not me. It's T-posing Clara. Is she meant to be T-posing? I don't know if that was a bug or not. Was she meant to be T-posing there? It's like the top half of her animation rig just broke. Yeah, they're all here. Except Capella? Wait, is Capella not here? I thought Capella was meant to be here. No? So another thing I got tipped off on is that we should go upstairs here. At long last there's a purpose to going up here. Well, look who it is. Just gazing on the big creepy zombie woman face, are you? Thought you killed yourself. Maybe you did, you seem to have no animation. Maybe you're just like a rigor mortis corpse just propped up in the corner here.
My path used to be called Goldilocks, but then I truly wanted to give my soul to the cathedral so that it'd have at least something immortal in it.
Here you are. I've got everything I ever wanted now. I knew I'd find you here. Oh, okay.
Can you feel
I guess
how
not.
rapid my heartbeat is?
You're very beautiful, so lifelike, but you're incorporeal, aren't you? But now I can fly. A miracle happened. All I had to do was strain my legs a bit and fly. It's just that I had to abandon my body not to go down. Otherwise, I would have fallen. Well, that's exactly what happened. You've fallen down, you idiot.
I've seen the angel.
I feel like I picked the wrong thing there. I feel like I maybe should have listened to what she had to say, but she sure did fall down, though. She sure did. You can't deny that she did some impressive falling down. So she didn't vouch for me in a letter, she vouched for me by becoming the fucking Phantom of the Cathedral. It's meant to be a Phantom of the Opera reference, but that wasn't very clear. I'm just going to reiterate it now just so that you're fully aware, you're fully on my wavelength with this one. Hey,
That
bud.
tower will have to be destroyed. That's how we procure Ichor.
Look at them. You see now that she is a victim? Do not paint her a demon. She is just honestly doing her duty, like you or me. You're protecting Aglaya. Do you really have something to say in her defense? I'm just still confused. What has she done to deceive you? Did she lie to you? Has she withheld the truth? I think you've learned everything you have without her help. Every conclusion you've made is your own. The whole town was at your disposal. She had to protect the town at any cost. That was her purpose. And yet she tried to settle personal accounts with her deceased sister while claiming to fulfill a noble duty. Why? She came as a light bringer capable of resolving all our misfortunes with the power of her intelligence, and ended up being a traitor that tried to sell me another lie under the guise of the ultimate truth. You're just holding a grudge, Oinon, nothing more. You only feel betrayed because you've entrusted yourself to her. But that was your own choice. It's unwise to brand someone a saviour beforehand and then denounce them when they fail to live up to your expectations, even though they didn't know you had them. She knew, that's the difference. She knew and exploited my hopes. You brought this on yourself. Don't try and get even with Aglaya. If you want to destroy the town and save the tower only to get rid of her and push her towards her demise, that would be unbecoming of you, Oinon. It is you who will turn into a spiteful puppeteer driven by his thirst for revenge. It's not about revenge. I just want to keep my word and to fulfill my mission fairly.
I'm surprised you're still alive.
Well, are you planning to make up your mind anytime soon? I'd like to know how you're going to keep the town intact. No, Bachelor, you will never understand this. You're very smart, but your intelligence holds you back. You will never come to understand my truth. Even though you're close to Maria and believe in Simon's abilities, you're still too far from understanding the higher purpose of things. And my truth only comes together on that level. Bitch, I know this is just a video game. I know I don't exist even in the minds of the people who don't exist. Like, this is like, I'm on like the ultimate high plane at this point. You can't pull the, well, you're just too stupid to understand my Reddit logic move on me. Come on now. Both you and Barack are semi-illiterate simpletons, so why are you both pitying me? Why won't you respect my knowledge as much as I respect yours? Your victory is a victory of pure reason. Look, just like we all, you have constructed a picture of the whole universe and found the root of what happened, but your picture is austere and bare bones. You have merely come to understand the mechanics of the events. You're generally a mechanic of a medic. Who are you then? Me and Barak were different. And much more profound, believe me. Your world is mechanically consistent and rational. You want to keep what is reasonable to keep and destroy what is necessary to destroy in order to complete your tragic mission with minimal risk. Are you laughing at me? I want to keep the polyhedron. What can be less logical? You want to keep the polyhedron out of respect for the kindred genius who had calculated the mechanics of a miracle trap, your contraption able to capture what could not be captured. The polyhedron is only a cold mathematical masterpiece made of glass to you. It's a very different thing to me. That's not how you spell Clara. Look at you, it's like you're possessed by someone else. Perhaps it's not the same me you knew before. There is more than one me. A lot, perhaps. We've got the same pretty face, but who knows who is behind it right now. Enough. Do whatever you please.
My path was called the Return of the Magic. I wanted to claim the power to create a place of miracles and lovely lawlessness.
I knew you'd come. When will you begin to execute your design, Maria? I've already begun, my Daniel. When the night falls and the wind scatters the smoke above the scorched earth and the dust of the buildings demolished settles, you'll see several new constellations light up in the sky. They will plunge their light towards us, and when the first specks of this light reach the constellations of the polyhedron, a miracle will happen. What will they be like? How are you going to call them? I'll see, but I expect them to be mostly red. Ruby, scarlet, crimson, carmine, merlot, mahogany, vermilion, garnet, rose, pink, burgundy. Perhaps you may even notice something familiar in the structure of these constellations. Where will these constellations come from? They've existed for a long time already. People just couldn't see them before, because the light was hurrying towards us from far beyond. Now the first rays of these stars are about to reach our surfaces. We will see their light reflected in the specular planes of the preserved polyhedron. And what will become of your family, Maria? Perishing, burning down, dissolving without a trace, that is my family's destiny. It's happened to my mother, it happened to Simon. Tomorrow, Georgi dies and my father will fade out in a week. And in 10 years, when my town is complete, I will pass on in the same fashion. What will happen to the children? Will you expel them from the tower? There's nothing to be done about it. They have to free up the space for the new guests. My brother will become embittered, betray me, and rebel against me, but I will find a way to deal with him. He will cower behind Capella's back willingly when my mother's eyes frown and glare at him. Have you become a mistress already? No, I haven't. You won't see it here unless you're planning to stay, of course. I've considered the pros and cons. I'm staying. I am indeed.
For 3 nights in a row. I don't think I'll manage another one.
Cool. I am indeed powerless, as you see. I'm accused of having arranged your discovery. I've lost my vote of confidence, so tell them whose discovery it is, for the laurels are yours. Are you in doubt? Your diabolical deception was so simple. The cause and the source, it's so easy to put these very different things together, Inquisitor, but they're not the same. In this case they are. It's strange that you have failed to see that. This place is a utopia, that is, an abuse of nature. The utopia must be destroyed. It's evil. What is a utopia, Aglaia? Let's talk for the last time. What is provoking your hatred so much? I'm a humanitarian. My duty is to save people, not kill them. I only condemn a few to death for the sake of the many. Now I'm offering you to save the happiness of several thousands, hardly shedding any blood at all. Utopia will demand more and make sacrifices, you know. Even this utopia. But why do you think this place is a utopia? Nobody conducts social experiments here. Look, this place is more natural than nature. Utopias are usually constructed to embody perfect justice, liberty, or economical thrift. This one, however, is different. This town is not a place that does not exist. It's a place that cannot exist, mustn't exist. Here's where the cause and the source are the same. Mustn't exist? Yes, it's a phenomenon behind the habitual reality, contradicting the laws of common sense and embodying that which mustn't be known to, felt, and seen by men. And yet, it has been created and materialized at human discretion. Wouldn't be so sure about that. Wouldn't be so sure about that. A man strives to be happy, and this is a great blessing. What's so bad about it? Our country holds the absolute record on experimental utopia designs. This is a feature that should be interpreted as an absolute virtue. Social masterpieces are rare, but they do happen, and they don't have to be accidental. Indeed. However, somehow they never seem to live too long. Now, at the dawn of the current century, there are almost none left. One gets the impression that there is no country that could imbue its inhabitants within a force simply because they happen to inhabit it. There have been examples of this, but they've all been destroyed. Why? I do not know. Let's get back to the matter at hand. A wonderful town is suddenly beginning to die. No one knows why. Why this one, the one that has managed to produce a wonder? The most curious, the most mysterious, inhabited by the most talented people. What did they do to deserve this? Well, I'll tell you. I'm all ears. At the persistent pleasure of the capricious powers that be, the miracle that has accidentally embodied in the polyhedron is forced to stay there, captured by the flesh of the town that has nurtured it, feeding it with resources, people, and hot blood. The flesh has become its womb and its prison. You're being too metaphoric. What does this have to do with my choice and the epidemic? Enslaved miracles die not out of anyone's malice. That's just their nature. You can't hold a miracle with your hands and can only hold its corpse. The idea is not new. Let's have a closer look at the disease, the embodiment of its logic. Is it good or evil? Why has it come to the town? Do you consider it to be good? Why did you come to the town at the same time then? You're by all definitions a hero, a miracle maker almost. It was the powers that be that have tried to make you detain a miracle here, not the poor obsessed Canes. They've only played their part. They represent their own force, but you... Do you really want to go back to being a slave? The powers that be are bending you to submission according to their own design. No, I don't. I hate them as much as you do, Aglaia. Then tell him, Daniel. There he stands waiting for your word, a puppet, just like... Guide his weapons. No one has heard a single word of recommendation from me yet. I'm relying on you completely. Like I said. And heed my warnings. I'll remember what we talked about. Be silent.
We're being manipulated.
I am. So, Bachelor, it was neither greed nor plotting nor circumstance that has informed your choice, but your conscience alone. I've been given orders to level everything here, but if that's not necessary, I'm willing to trust your judgment, risking my life and honor, for I am merciful. Where shall I point the weapon? I was all ready to click this option. Clara's option. There's no need to destroy anything. We can do all together without gunfire and preserve the world as it is. But that last bit made me think. Preserve the world as it is. I feel like in a world where you are a figment of someone's imagination, where you're basically an insignificant speck, someone who doesn't even really have their own agency, is keeping the status quo really the way to end it? Or is it better for things to go down in flames? I almost want to destroy the polyhedron again, even though that's what I did for the Haruspecs, just because I know that that's sort of the connection to the powers that be. And I want rid of those fuckers. No. It's a tough choice, honestly. I'm actually kind of intrigued as to what happens if I click this. Probably nothing good, I imagine. We'll let Clara have Clara's ending. I'm going to take Dankovsky's ending. Let the settlement be destroyed, but there's no reason to hurt the polyhedron. The survivors will find shelter there until we vaccinate them, and the epidemic dies out. So you think the town is doomed? I do. The soil underneath it is soaked with poison. We're very lucky that the ground here is so fastidious. Plough every inch of it up with shells, shake it and pull its rocks out and split it into cracks so that no one would ever dare re-inhabit this land. This side of the river is uninhabitable. It's worth mentioning that the polyhedron is anchored under the town, so if you're destroying the shit out of all the terrain, that could uproot the polyhedron very easily. But YOLO, do what you want, Dankovsky. I see. And you believe the tower will make it through the bombardment despite its base being so thin? Yes, the tower must keep its balance. I've studied its structure and I'm inclined to believe that it's rather earthquake resistant. It's like a weight on a steel spring. If no shell explodes on the opposite bank of the river, the polyhedron will remain intact. Shells will only fail where I point them to fail. Let it be so then. Can you prove that this is a good way out? I can. Here are my arguments. A bacteria specimen, the vaccine, the blueprints and the map charting the source of the pest. Are you sure there's nothing else you'd like to tell me? I'm sure, Commander. The choice has been made.
What?
Wait and see the consequences of your decision. It will all be over by 12. Farewell, Commander.
My path was called.
Yes, I've come.
What?
I've already made up my mind. Let's not waste time on unnecessary speeches.
People are willing to sacrifice themselves so that the town survives. Help me get to the cathedral. I'll show you.
You're at the cathedral. I'm so glad I didn't side with you. I'm looking forward to midnight. You are a midnight creature, aren't you?
What was that? I must be seeing things.
Where shall you go now, Oinon? Who will you look in the face? I was going to ask you the same. Nothing more to say, pal? Can't go back in. Well, this was fun. I forget how this game actually ends. Like, how to end it. I seem to remember on my first playthrough, I got to this point and then got murdered by some guards when I tried to leave town. Do I just wait? Do I just wait it out until 12? Do I just go for a nap in this building that's about to get shelled because I've just told everything south of the river to get shelled? And don't get me wrong, everything is south of the river. The polyhedron is almost south of the river. The entrance to it certainly is. Okay, I'm gonna save. I'm gonna sleep till 12. In my nice cozy warm bed. Thinking of the horrors of the day. Day 13, look at that. Day 13 exists. The powers that be punched the town to death. Oh, it still seems to be there. Oh, maybe not. And yet the polyhedron lives. I've just thought. Ava sacrificed herself so that she could inject her soul into the cathedral or whatever. And now we've just blown that shit up. Bye, Eva. Sucks to be here, I guess. Oh.
You did it? It was a free choice. We acknowledge the victory of the player.
It is indeed miraculous. The exit is clear. It shouldn't have happened. The miracle must be real.
They were dolls the whole time. Oh! There's more! You guys good? Who am I? Who am I now? What does... I can't interact with any of these fellas. Yeah, I guess in a way the whole game was a play. Fitting that it ends here, I suppose. What's the other door? Can we go through the other door now? No? Can we do anything now? If just leaving isn't an option, then I will have absolutely no clue what to do at this point. Okay, there we go. Well, I've got to hand it to him. I've got to hand it to him. I did not really expect any of those endings. I say that because there was like 6 of them. Yeah. I see now why a couple people were encouraging me to play through the another campaign after I finished Harrispex's. There's definitely more to it than meets the eye, for sure. For absolutely sure. I'm still a little bit in two minds. I think maybe I was a bit unduly harsh on the whole "it's just a game, bro" thing that happened. Especially given like that final scene. I think I don't really know what that added, but it just sort of rounded it off nicely. I think it felt quite poignant in a way. I think that helped tie things together a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool, man. It's cool. I'm pro Pathologic. I think I'm a fan of Pathologic. It's official. I got there in the end. You wouldn't have thought it if you go back to the beginning of my my Harrispex's campaign, or even the end of my Harrispex's campaign, really, that I would ever become someone who would openly call himself a fan of this game. But yeah, for all its faults, it definitely stands apart, right? You can love what it tries to do and say, you can hate what it tries to do and say, but there's absolutely no denying that it's very much its own thing, and is unashamedly its own thing. And for a game made back in what, 2000 and, I don't know, I'll Google this while I talk. You know, a game made back in the good old days, shall we say, where basically nothing was doing stuff like this. I mean, there was some very tongue-in-cheek fourth wall breaking stuff in the 80s and early 90s for sure, but this does all that but plays it completely straight. Yeah, 2005. This was, I believe, before BioShock was even pulling sort of twist endings into the mainstream. Why is there a person called Groan? Sorry, my train of thought just got completely derailed when I looked up and just saw the word groan on my screen. Yeah, it does a lot in very smart ways, and I'm glad I played it. I'm 100% going to do Clara's campaign. I'm assuming I won't really get any more knowledge from the grand scheme of things by doing that. I feel like because I saved everyone, I'm assuming it's because I saved everyone that I got to speak to the powers that be and find out all that shit. That isn't just a normal part of the Bachelor's campaign. But I do still want to see what goes on from Clara's perspective, because there's some weird shit that's still completely unexplained in this game. The weird talking rat man who lives in the sewers, who we didn't see in this campaign, but we did bump into in the Haruspex campaign, is something that I just do not comprehend. Again, it can be explained away by being in the minds of fake children, but it's definitely still worth, I think, digging into the final campaign in this game and finding out what exactly else there is to see. So I will be getting around to that in due course. I am going to be AWOL for a week, going on holiday, going to have a wonderful time, I'm sure. And when I get back, I will be continuing with Everhood, which is a very cool game in its own right, I should also say. It's another game that subverted my expectations nicely, and once again, big fan of anything that does that. And probably continuing after us now that I have a graphics card that can run that game. So I won't be getting around to Pathologic, the Changeling. I guess I'll call that campaign. Pathologic the Changeling, for a little while at least, but I will be getting around to it. Do not you worry about that. So I guess all that really remains to be said at this point is thanks as ever for watching. It's been a pleasure and yeah, a bit of a thrill ride, honestly. I really found myself embracing everything this game has to offer with the second campaign playthrough. And it's harsh that it's a game that you have to be that familiar with in order to enjoy. It's definitely still not a game I would wholeheartedly recommend to everyone and anyone, because it's suffering a lot of the time. Especially when you're not quite as up on what you're doing as I was for this second playthrough. But definitely a game that is going to live rent-free in my head for a while. And I absolutely have to see the remaining third of it. Absolutely have to. Yeah, so. Hang on, I want to see who the most special thanks of all is. Oh, it's just more people. I thought it was going to be like, you, the player, you, the really cool guy who made all this possible, the director. Did they call me the director? That was right, wasn't it? What the theatre actors called me. Oh, there's more going. There's more credits going. I don't really have anything left to say at this point, so instead I'm just going to say bye. I'll let the credits play out, and I'll see you for more. Bye for now. I'm still here, by the way. I was like, well, I could go over to OBS and mute my microphone and just piss off and do something else, but I think that would mean tabbing out of the game and it would be a bit jarring a transition. So instead I'm just sort of sat here quietly after having signed off. Just a bit awkward, really, you know. I've opened Twitter. I'm just having a little read of what's going on in the world, to be honest. It's not that exciting. I spend too much time on Twitter, so I've already seen all the juicy posts today. Trump trial still going on, apparently. Not really been following that, don't really care. Yeah, it'll be cool to see him locked up, I suppose. He wasn't the best guy, but I don't really think much is going to come of it. Maybe I'm wrong. Greta Thunberg going on about climate change again. I mean, on the one hand I agree with her, but on the other hand, is there any point at this point? Not to be a big old Debbie Downer, but you know, I think the world's pretty fucked, isn't it? It's a bit fucked. So I don't really think yeah, if all the governments in the world agreed to switch to being more climate friendly, switch over to greener schemes and everything, maybe we could save the world at this point, but it's just not going to happen, so why bother? Just sit around and play video games instead, eh? Suitably nihilistic take for ending this video game, I think, isn't it? Oh, there we go, we're done. Okay, I can leave now. I've been freed. I've escaped my prison within the world within the world within the world of Pathologic. And I'll see you next time. Bye.